Hello YouTube, Mike Kohanim here. Today I'm going to be talking about the deck that I plan to use in the Synchro and Xyz Festival that's coming up starting tomorrow. When I saw that this event was announced, I thought it was a little bit strange because there aren't too many decks that benefit from both using a combination of Synchro and Xyz monsters. So the festival sort of felt like it's just the best of the Synchro Festival combined with the best of the Xyz Festival. That said, I took a closer look, and the Forbidden and Limited list actually makes it a little bit more interesting than I initially thought. That being said, the deck that I used to get to Diamond 1 in recent seasons is my Swordsoul Tenyi deck, which is a heavily reliant deck on the Synchro summoning mechanic. For this reason, I decided to adapt the deck for the Synchro and Xyz Festival. In this video, I'll show you the changes that I made to my advanced format ranked duel deck and explain why I made those changes to bring this deck into the Synchro and Xyz Festival. I previously made a video on my quick Diamond 1 status Swordsoul Tenyi deck for the advanced format ranked duels. If you're new to either the Swordsoul or Tenyi theme, I strongly recommend watching that video before this one to get the hang of the combos that the deck is capable of and the plays that the Swordsoul and Tenyi monsters enable to help you win your duels. I'll put a link down to that video in the description in case you want to check it out. I'll also put the deck list that I'm going to use going into this new festival in case you want to copy it. This is the deck I ultimately settled on, and I started it out by copying my deck from the advanced format ranked duels into the Synchro and Xyz Festival deck, so it would show me which cards that I was previously using for the advanced format are now limited or forbidden under the new Forbidden and Limited list for this event. The obvious changes that needed to be made was the removal of all of the link monsters, since none of them are allowed in this format. Most obviously, that requires the removal of Crystron Halqifibrax. In my advanced format deck, I use a whole package around Halqifibrax that also utilizes Deskbot 001 and Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon. So with Halqifibrax being forbidden and Auroradon as well, since it's a link monster, all of those need to be removed, freeing up space in both the main deck and the extra deck. The only other link monsters that I used in my advanced format deck were 2 copies of Monk of the Tenyi, which are also forbidden from this event because it's a link monster. This is actually a significant blow to the Tenyi engine, because one of the main strengths of the Tenyi engine is that you're able to quickly special summon Tenyi monsters from your hand, link them away into Monk of the Tenyi, and since it's a normal monster that's pretty much always accessible when you have a Tenyi monster, you can immediately use the effects of those Tenyi monsters. You lose that ability with Monk of the Tenyi disallowed from your deck. For that reason, I expect that you will much less reliably be able to use the effects of your Tenyi monsters. And to compensate for that, I added in 3 copies of Heavenly Dragon Circle, which I was not otherwise using in my Swordsoul Tenyi deck for the advanced format. Heavenly Dragon Circle lets you tribute one of your worm monsters, including one of the Tenyis, to add a worm monster from your deck to your hand. It also has a second effect that lets you tribute a non-effect monster to special summon that monster instead, but you likely won't be using that often, especially with Monk of the Tenyi not in the extra deck. This effectively allows you to trade in one of your Tenyi monsters for a Swordsoul monster, which is also a worm-type monster, each of which has an effect that generates a token that is a normal monster. With that normal monster on the field, the effects of your Tenyi monsters in your hand and graveyard are once again accessible. So the 3 copies of Heavenly Dragon Circle are included in the deck to make it easier to use the effects of the Tenyi monsters, but also to more reliably get access to the Swordsoul monsters you need. So the Swordsoul engine is definitely the stronger engine of the 2 in this build of the deck. And the Heavenly Dragon Circle not only strengthens the Tenyi engine, but also allows you to more reliably get the cards you need from the Swordsoul engine. Heavenly Dragon Circle also has another effect that lets you banish it from your graveyard if you control a normal monster, to add a Tenyi monster from your deck to your hand. So that can be helpful too, since it gets you a monster that you can pick with the effect of Longyuan, or just gives you access to another Tenyi monster effect that you want to use, including Vishuda. Speaking of Vishuda, Tenyi Spirit Vishuda is actually limited to 1 for this event. Normally, I would use at least 2 copies in my advanced format deck, but since I can play 1, I am taking advantage of that 1 copy and using Heavenly Dragon Circle, which is also able to search for that Vishuda if I instantly need it. Another big change in the Forbidden and Limited list for this event compared to just the advanced format on Master Duel is that Arch Nemesis Protos, as well as Eschados, which is not a card I played in Swordsoul anyway, is actually forbidden. But Arch Nemesis Protos is an insane card that can just lock down decks that rely on a single attribute and single-handedly win a duel. It's also searchable by the effect of Swordsoul Emergence, but because it's forbidden in this particular format, I did need to remove it from the deck, which does weaken the deck compared to its advanced format version. With this version of the deck weaker than what I'm accustomed to playing, I think that cards that make the deck more reliable, like Heavenly Dragon Circle, are extremely valuable to use. I'll also note that with the Link monsters removed from the extra deck, I had a lot more room to place more Synchro monsters to make it a larger toolbox to get the effects I need when I need them. In addition to the Synchro monsters that I use in my advanced format extra deck for my Swordsoul Tenyi deck, I am using a level 11 Star Eater in case I have a combination of monsters that allow me to synchro summon a level 11 monster, like Vishuda plus Incredible Ecclesia, for example. And I'm also using a level 9 synchro monster, Vermilion Dragon Mech, in case I have a combination of levels that allows me to to summon Vermilion Dragon Mech and destroy an opponent's card when it's particularly helpful. I'm also using a copy of Xiaofang, which many decks do use, but I never found the room for in my Swordsoul Tenyi deck with so many spots in the extra deck occupied by Link monsters. And I'm using a second copy of Swordsoul Supreme Sovereign as well, with so many ways to make level 10 monsters, including tuning a level 7 Tenyi monster like Ashuna or Vishuda with the level 3 tuner Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Which is a little more likely to come up, I think, in this festival than it is in the advanced format, where typically you're going to want to use your Ash Blossom to stop an opponent's cards and have plenty of other methods for synchro summoning monsters. If I had Ruddy Rose Dragon as a way to get rid of the graveyards and increase the power of my extra deck toolbox, I would play Ruddy Rose Dragon, but because I don't have a copy, I decided not to craft it just for this event. If you have a copy of Ruddy Rose Dragon, I would recommend using 1 copy as an extra option when you're performing a level 10 synchro summon. So that's the deck I'm going to use in the upcoming festival. I don't anticipate having any problems reaping all of the awards from the event with this deck. I expect it to have a high win ratio because of how powerful Swordsoul and Tenyi monsters are and how strong the synchro monsters are in this deck. Relative to other decks that will be viable in this festival. The deck isn't really that different than the deck I'm using in the advanced format, which is how I know it'll be one of the more powerful decks in the upcoming Synchro and Xyz Festival. If you think I'm missing any cards that I should be playing, let me know in the comments. I'm curious to know how you think that the new Forbidden and Limited list for this special event and the restriction placed on extra deck monsters affects the optimum build for the Swordsoul Tenyi strategy. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate if you gave it a like here on YouTube and subscribe to my channel. That information tells me what type of videos my audience enjoys and encourages me to make a lot more like them. Thank you.